else if you graduate.
I'm John Johnson. I'm a senior applied health science major graduating in the spring.
I'm Sam. I'm a senior. I'm applied health science major. I'm also graduating in the spring.
I'm Ellie. I'm a senior applied health major. I'm graduating in December. Alright, so for our project, we compared 3- and 4-year-olds' ability to do forward rolls and cartwheels. We found that the 3-year-olds were a lot more timid and did not want to participate in much of it at all. They actually didn't even do the cartwheel part, and we think that's partly because their self-esteem and self-confidence was less developed than the 4-year-olds, who were more eager and wanted to be taught how to do it correctly. You guys will be able to see this in the videos that we have. It's a pretty significant difference.
Okay, so the teaching methods for forward rolls. So you can see that's Michael Scott doing an initial stage of a forward roll. So one of the most important things we found in teaching the kids was modeling. You can tell when the kids came up to us and just us giving them completely verbal instructions, they were a little confused, and you can tell they were a little nervous to perform the movements because they didn't know really what we expected of them. So when we had Sam do the movements, you'll see in some of the videos that they opened up and were more comfortable in doing the movements and more willing to do them. And also there was like a group of girls, I'm sure you all know, there was a specific group of girls who kept coming around. So when one of the girls did it from the group, the rest of the group would also do it. So the first instruction we gave them would be to put their hands on a certain color. We had mats with different colors, and they were reversed some days, so it was whatever color was first. We would tell them to look between their legs. Sam would have her hand behind their legs, and we would tell them to say hi to Sam's hand. Then they would tuck their chin to their chest, push off with both legs, knees to their chest while rolling, and then standing up afterwards. So these are our phases based off the observations we made during our 3 days. So the initial stage, the kids would have their full weight on their heads. They would have no support from their hands. They were unable to push themselves over. They weren't even able to get started into the forward roll themselves. Their legs were untucked and they stayed extended during the roll, and they landed somehow just not on their backs, some way sideways or just off kilter. The elementary stage, just the in-between, they took some weight off their hands. It was distributed between their head and hands, but there was still a little too much weight on their heads. They could push themselves partway over, but you can tell they struggled a bit to do so. And again, they would land on their side and not on their back. And also, just to add for the initial and elementary stage, they would not be able to stand up, or they were slow to stand up afterwards. And the mature stage, you could tell it was just a more fluid, simple motion. You could tell it was more effortless. They would have more of their weight on their hands, or most of their weight on their hands. They tucked their chin to their chest, they stayed in the ball the whole time, they landed on their back, and they were able to carry the momentum through to stand up. So this is our 3-year-old. This is actually our first kid that we taught was Sam. And you'll see in the first video, Dr. Anderson kind of helping out a bit. We were struggling a bit with him just because we didn't know, he wasn't doing it properly, and we were uncomfortable or unsure how to help him. So Dr. Anderson came over with a very physical approach that we appreciated. And you can see in this video that he's physically spreading his legs, telling him to put his hands down on the mat right here, look between your legs, and to roll over. And you'll see Dr. Anderson physically manipulate him the whole way, even push him over into the roll. So that's a great example of initial, just because he basically didn't do anything. Dr. Anderson just pushed him over. And this is him later in the day in the elementary stage. You can see he has weight distributed between his hands and his head. He wasn't able to fully get himself over. He was able to get himself over, but he stayed in like a plank the whole time. His whole body was extended and didn't stand up or was slow too. And this is him demonstrating some parts of elementary and some parts of mature. You can see that there's no weight on his head, all of it's on his hands. Dr. Anderson's only there for side support, there's no push. We'll watch this again. You can tell it's just so much of a fluid motion. His legs are kind of tucked in partway. He does lose momentum towards the end to standing up, which is why he's back in the elementary stage. But most of it was mature. This is a 3-year-old female. I think her name was Amina. Yes, okay, she didn't have her name tag on, but this is a perfect example of the initial stage. You can see all of her weight's on her head, and she pushes off with one leg only. And she does land completely sideways. Just watch that again. And after we told her to get back in line, I actually caught her in the back of this video running away. You can tell that she was kind of deciding to come back, and she just was not having it. So she went to a different station, so we were unable to get her back and progress her any further. This is a 4-year-old, this is Luke. This is him in his initial stage. This is actually a perfect example of initial. You can see he's kind of hesitant on what to do. He has most of his weight on his head. He didn't get himself all the way over, and he landed on his side. And this is him later in the day, and you'll see Sam in this next video modeling for him. He got a little uncomfortable and a little shy after that first one, so we had Sam do it next to him to boost his confidence a little bit. So you can see most of the weight was on his hands. It was a great fluid motion. He was a bit slow to stand up afterwards. As you can see, he had to scoot his butt towards his legs. But for the most part, that was pretty mature. And this is our 4-year-old. This is Riley. This is her on day 1. You can see that she's starting in a very awkward position, like sort of high off the ground. She did have her legs fully extended throughout the clip, so she did like hit herself in the face a bit with that. And she did again have to scoot her butt towards her legs. She wasn't able to carry her momentum through to standing up. This is her on day 2. She didn't improve much, but she did get a much better starting position, and it just looked a bit more effortless. Again, I'd say this is still elementary, just because she was slow to stand up. And her legs were still, for the most part, extended. That's Riley.
For cartwheels, we had a lot more trouble teaching the kids how to do them. I think that part of it was just because there's like a bunch of different movements that are involved in a cartwheel, and it's not really like, a lot of the kids aren't like used to sitting on their hands or like moving their body in that kind of way. They're a little bit more used to just like running around and doing that kind of stuff. So modeling was really helpful just because a lot of them didn't really know like what a cartwheel even was. So I'd like model, and then it was also really helpful, like they would see their friends do it, and I think that gave them, like made them feel a little bit better, like, oh, my friend can do that, that means I can do it. So we saw a lot of improvement with that. Basically we just told them to stand in whichever direction they wanted to go. Most of them kind of already knew which direction they wanted to go, so we didn't have to, you know, like push them and be like, okay, like which leg goes in front when you reach out or whatever. So it was nice. We basically just told them to put one hand on like the first color of the mat, and then the next hand on the next color. And then it was really hard to explain to them how to get their feet to the